Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to round 2 of the F1 Esports 2024-2025 World Championship. We are heading towards China, one of my best tracks in F1 Esports. I have won here, I think twice. In 2019 I had a great race as well. I had some issues in qualifying where I started P12 and drove all the way back to P4 in a 25% race, which is very much the most you can do unless there's a huge pile-up. And then of course in 2021 I had the cheeky last to first challenge, pretty much. Started in 14, dropped to last place at the start with a different strategy and managed to win the race from there on. And then in 2020 I won the race, but then in 2022 and 2023 unfortunately we were not driving around this track. But now here we are then on F1 24 in 2025, again on the Chinese Grand Prix circuit. Great track for wheel-to-wheel racing on the Formula 1 game. In real life I think it's a little bit harder because there's a lot of dirty air they struggle with in real life, but nonetheless I think this year's race was great around here. But yeah, as you can see we're out in Q1 at the moment, and yeah, just like in Melbourne we're gonna try and get into Q2 on a single set of tires, but this time we're actually gonna try and make it into Q3, which was a real shame around Melbourne. You know, we saved a set of tires for Q3, which means we would have had 2 new sets for Q3, but then we never made it to Q3, so we're gonna try and do that today. I'm gonna try and save a set here, and straight away get a really good banker on the board. And you can see we're starting our lap quite close to Lucas Blakely, and since this year there is no ghosting anymore in qualifying, but you get slipstream from really far away. Now slipstreaming by the rules is not legal, but the issue we're facing here is that we are starting our lap just quite close to the car ahead, which then is not quite slipstreaming, you know? Because let's say you're at the end of a qualifying session and you run out of time, you can, or you have to start a lap close behind someone, and then you get slipstream as well. So we're bending the rules here a little bit, but yeah, no one was doing it around Melbourne. But as you can see, we are doing it right now, and yeah, we've closed in a little bit to Lucas, and that is perfect. This is exactly what we want, because this way we were getting minimum dirty air in sector 1 and 2, and now on this long straight we're getting a very nice toe. And even if we slightly mess up this lap, just because of this toe, we're gonna make it into Q2. So all we have to do is just keep it on the road, not make any major mistakes. Lucas is gone a little bit wide, which closes us in a little bit more once again. And we're gonna go through the final corner, clip the inside curb a little bit. That was quite under the limit, but up to the line is a 29.657, which puts us P3 behind Freddy Rasmussen, Ulas Ozildirim ourselves, and then Ismail Fassi in P4 at the moment. We ended that session in P8, but we saved a set of tires, and that was crucial. Yeah, that slipstream came in quite handy, and yeah, more and more people started doing it at the end of Q1. You can see Barry Bormand actually out in Q1, ahead of Duncan Hovland, who is making his F1 Esports debut, Alvaro Carreton, Lucas Blakely, and Josh Ido out in Q1. So yeah, interesting dynamics here. And now we move on to Q2. New set of tires on the car. So this is not going to be a super important lap. No slipstream this time around. And yeah, back to the slipstream part. So I don't remember the exact ruling because this is already nearly 3 months ago we did this race, but I think you're not allowed to give your teammate a slipstream or give someone a slipstream. But yeah, we are just the ones taking it, right? So as we put on a new set of tires and we went slower on a new set of tires, which is just typical, isn't it? So we're in P10 and there's 35 seconds left on the clock. You can see it's traffic paradise here as we line up to the final corner, and we need A nice lap here, and you can see we're even closer this time around than we were at the start of Q1. And you can see we've already gained 1/10 as we go into turn 1. Now we're really going to be capable of seeing the difference between no slipstream and slipstream. This is a good benchmark because we didn't get one on our first new tire run in Q2, but we also didn't get it on our used tire run at the start of Q2, at the very start. This is our third lap, and we're nearly 2 tenths up as we head into the hairpin. 1.5 tenths as we exit the hairpin, almost 1.5 tenths. Here we're just gaining all the time. The dirty air relative to the slipstream is so little from this distance. I think we've pretty much nailed it this time around. We're losing a little bit here through the fast section, but it's only 2/300ths, and let's not forget, there is a huge straight coming up, and we got a nice gap here. This is gonna be such a big gain. Through the long right-hander, we're gonna go almost 1/10 up, and now we're gonna gain tenths by the slipstream. I reckon we're around 7-8 tenths back from Ola Zildrim ahead of us, and you can see 3 tenths up on our previous lap, and that's a 2/10 gain just on that straight alone. There's nothing you can do if you're on your own on this lap, because yeah, you would have to drive a mega lap in order to make it through. And across the line we're gonna go. It is P3, P4. Actually, we keep dropping back all the way down to P6, but a lot of cars had a big slipstream there. And I think Nicolas Longe and our teammate Freddie Rasmussen were one of the few who did not get a slipstream there. And you can see they're straight away out. We had a 29.251. Otis Lawrence did a 29.031. And those are incredible lap times on the F1 Esports build, because the game we're driving on is quite a bit slower than what you guys at home are driving on. I think we're around 3 tenths per lap slower in qualifying to what you guys have at home. So those are incredible lap times. Start of Q3 here. We still have 2 new sets of tires, of course, but it is gonna rain here later on in Q3. And yeah, now actually looking back at it, I just reminded myself that I think at the start of Q2 we went on new tires, because I think we were somewhat expecting this rain to happen. So because I went out in Melbourne in Q2, I decided to use an extra set of new tires in Q2 and just risk it that we're only gonna get 1 run in here at the start of Q3. And again, we got such a nice tow from Danny Bresnay ahead, and he's a little bit far behind the car ahead. And that means we're gonna gain a lot on this next straight, because we're gonna close in more and more. A little mistake from Danny ahead as well. I think at this point we're a little bit too close, and that's why I'm taking a tight line through the right hand just to get some clean air on my front wing. And you can see how close we are to Danny Bresnay. I think we're actually gonna have to be a little bit careful here into the hairpin that we not drive into the back of him. That's why I turned on my battery a little bit earlier than usual, just to make sure I had some left coming up to the line. You can see how close we are. We're actually gonna lose quite a bit of time here in the final corner because of dirty air, but it's gonna be far, far better than having no slipstream. Across the line we're gonna go, and it's a 29.248. Similar lap time to what we did in Q2, but it is P3 on the grid, behind Thomas Ronhaar and Ulas Uzildrim, Brandon Lee in P4. And yeah, it started raining straight away after we came back into the pits, and that's why Otis Lawrence is down in P9 with a 33.0, and Tom Manley had set a lap on the inters because it was wet conditions by the time these guys did another lap. You can see Danny Bresnay P7 just because he didn't get a slipstream. This was also straight away the last time slipstreaming was allowed, because after this they very much clarified the rules that it was not going to be allowed, and in future events we were going to go back to ghosting, which, yeah, I think perhaps is slightly better to avoid the chaos, you know. So yeah, P3 on the grid it is, much better than Melbourne, much better starting position. Ismail Fassi in P5, unfortunately. Obviously he has 26 points, we only have 13, and I would have loved to see him go out in Q1. I'm sorry, Ismail. Just to make our lives a little bit easier. But He is not going to make it easy. He clearly is one of the best at the moment, and very much deserves to be a championship leader. On to the race we go then. As you can see, full dry race. We're going to be starting on the hard compound of tires, which might lose us a few positions at the start. We're not sure, obviously, beforehand what everyone else is going to start on tire-wise, but it looks like most people are on the hard compounds. So away we go for round number 2 in the F1 Esports World Championship. Good start for Thomas Ronner on the inside. Ulas has yielded him a little bit slow over the line. And we're trying to get some clean air on our front wing there into turn number 1. But yeah, for now I'm quite happy with P3. And I'm not willing to take too much risk at this point in time. I think Brendan behind us felt kind of similar because this is going to be a long race. It's not going to matter too much if we're going to be in P1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Because later on there's going to be loads of stuff happening. There's an incident in the hairpin between a McLaren and a Ferrari. I think that was between Barry and I guess Lucas. I might be wrong there, but yeah, P3 it is so far. We still are sitting quite comfortably on 100% battery, and yeah, we're just gonna play it safe. Save a bit of tires for later on in this race. Not sure at this point in time, obviously, if we're gonna make an undercut or if we're gonna go long. There is always gonna be people boxing early for the undercut, get track position, and then try to hang on in the latter stages of this race. But yeah, usually we do like to go a little bit longer, especially me. So opening lap done from P3. We have stayed in P3, and yeah, we're just gonna continue tire saving a little bit, obviously without trying to lose a position. Lap 8 now, and still in P3. Otis Lawrence up to P4 already. He's had a great opening few laps from P9 on the grid, and yeah, Brandon Lee has lost a position, and now we are gonna go in the attack. You see him using a lot of battery, a long straight, and we're gonna go around the outside into the hairpin of Thomas Ronner. Brake deep, trying to have a little look on the AlphaTauri as we get tapped on the rear slightly into the final corner, but we get the position. P2 it is, and now we need to try and recharge the battery a little bit because you can see it is down to 10%. And probably Ulas Uzildrim ahead of us has a similar issue because I was forcing that move, forcing Ulas to attack into the hairpin, and obviously Thomas is going to try and do the same. We're nearing the pit stop windows, and that's why we've all started getting a little bit more feisty, you know, getting a little bit more attacky into the hairpin. We're going to go, I'm going to go down the inside, trying to protect P2. Thomas goes for the switchback, and up to P1 we go for, I think, the first time this year. So yeah, great feeling to be leading an F1 Esports race again. Has been a while. And Thomas goes down the inside of Ulas there in turn 1, moves back up to P2. And as I was actually watching that battle behind me so much, I actually had a little snap. But yeah, you can see the things are starting to kick off now behind us, and that is because that pit window has opened. You can see one of the Aston Martins has boxed. That's not Otis Lawrence, that is his teammate. And yeah, once you see someone's teammate boxed that early of someone that is quite far ahead, you can kind of guess that, you know, that car that's up front is going to box one lap later, so they can work together. However, we did not fall for it. We went long, 14 laps into this race, and we're going to come into the box for a new set of the mediums. Thomas boxed, I think, at the end of lap 12. Otis at the end of lap 10. Together with Brandon Lee, I think so. So, yeah, Duncan Hovland boxing at the end of lap 9.
And away we go. No problems, very smooth. Red Bull will no doubt be very happy with that stop.
Cheers, Crofty. But yeah, that early pit stop from Duncan seems to have not worked too well. I wonder if he has been in some kind of incident. We come out ahead of Barry Bormand, who is on the hards. I think he might have had wing damage, and that's why he's gone for an early pit stop onto the hards. But yeah, you can see 3.1 second gap we have to close in to Joris Kroesen and Ulas Ozildirim. And yeah, seems like a lot with only 14 laps to go, but that 2, 3, 4 lap fresher tires is going to help us a lot, and this is going to help us a lot as well. You can see incident of the hairpin between Tom Manley and Brendan Lee. Brendan not getting DRS on the next straight, so I was thinking about straight away going on the attack into turn number 1, but yeah, a little bit too far ahead for me. And yeah, with 4 lap tire advantage, this shouldn't be too hard of a move, and I think Brendan will know that as well. 4 lap tire advantage around China is huge because of all these long corners, which are really, really tough on the tires. So on we go on the overtake, and you can see Brendan basically just pulls off to the side because he knows we are not in the same race anymore here after that incident he had. I think he knows that his best chance at points is trying to hang on here, and yeah, hope there's going to be some incidents, hope that his race pace is good enough to hang on to me and all the cars ahead, and then maybe he can still take a few points home, you know. I think that is going to be his aim here, but yeah, once you get into an incident after you've done an undercut in F1 Esports, it is very, very tough to still get good points. So yeah, P7 it is. We're behind Ulas Ozildirim. You can see we've charged our battery nicely, and yeah, a lot of cars that have boxed really early, so we're really close behind them. Ulas goes defensive into the next right, and I've done this move on Freddy in 2020 as well, but Ulas not fighting us too hard here, and now we are up to P6 with 11 laps to go. We have to overtake 5 more cars, which doesn't seem like a lot, but we're gonna have to do it fast before our tire advantage wears off. So yeah, let's see what we can do on Tamascal. Straight away on the next straight will be nice. We've got pretty much a full battery to play with, so we're gonna drain that straight away right here. We don't really have a direct threat behind us because that's Ulas Ozildirim and Brendan Lee, and then I think Tom Manley. We've all boxed way, way earlier than me, so yeah, we can kind of do what we want here. We can play it aggressive with the ERS, and you can see up to P5 we're gonna go with the help of the overtake button. Maybe we've got a bit more straight line speed than the others as well, I'm not sure. Always very tough to say when everyone is using different battery deployment every lap. So P5 it is, 10 laps to go. Make that P4 as I think the last person has boxed. That is Istvan Pukki going really long on the hards, and somehow on a LAN event Joris Kroesen has lagged back, and this is going to give us the position. I was kind of wondering, am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to just take advantage of this? But yeah, there's nothing I can really do about this, and up to P3 we go. And that was bizarre how, yeah, Joris just lagged back. I think it's a similar thing to what I had last year with all the screen freezes. Now, the screen freezes were still an issue here in the first event, so in the first 4 races. And I think that is what might have happened to Joris. So, yeah, free position for us, very unfortunate for Joris. At the same time, I am quite confident we would have gotten that position anyway. So, P3 it is. And at the end of this lap, there is gonna be 7 laps remaining. We're gonna go on the attack again, and you can see the overspeed we have on Otis Lawrence into P2. We're gonna go Thomas giving a little bit of slipstream to Otis because Thomas knows we are the ones with the freshest tires. Otis boxed 4 laps earlier than me, and Otis is gonna struggle on tire wear towards the end of this race, side by side into the final corner. Not the kind of corner you really want to go side by side, but we managed to get it through quite cleanly actually, no contact. And up to P2 we go, little look down the inside in turn 1, getting some clean air on our nose. But at this point, I knew we're in it to win it. Once we're in P2, with the tire advantage. We just have to play it right with the DRS games, with the car positioning. 7 laps. Let's play it chill. We got Ismail Fassi right behind us. Actually, make that Danny Bresnay right behind us, who did not have a great quali, but yeah, good strategy, and has managed to work his way through the field. And I think he has 1 or 2 lap fresher tires than us. So yeah, ideally we stay in P2. But if we're not in P2 and we're leading the race, I would very much like Thomas to be P2 because he has the oldest tires. Once Thomas is far enough behind, I don't care who finishes P2. But in order to win this race, it's the best for us if we are in P2, but we get forced into a move because Danny pushed us in there. You can see I'm kind of slowing down a little bit, not too much of course, because I wanted to be in P2, but Thomas had the same idea and Thomas was off the racing line, so I couldn't slow down as much as Thomas because I had Danny right behind me on the racing line, and you know, if I would slow down more or too much, you know, it would be considered almost brake checking, so had to be careful with that, and that's why I took the lead, because I knew we have the tire advantage. I felt like I had the race pace advantage as well. So yeah, we just have to play it smart. It's okay if we lead into the final lap, because I was confident that I was going to be capable of keeping the lead. But the question is, of course, if that's actually going to be the case. So we're leading, not using my battery too much. We're chilling on 100%. Now I activate it because I know Danny Bresnay is going to be trying again for sure on this straight, and both cars behind have DRS, so I need to make sure that if Thomas overtakes me, that I'm in P2. And yeah, Thomas kind of putting his nose in really late there. But yeah, we managed to keep the lead. We are getting a little bit low on battery, but we've got the entire middle sector to recharge that for the long back straight. You can see I've covered the inside completely because I knew having the inside for turn 1 was going to be crucial. And kind of what I was hoping here was that Danny and Thomas were going to go side by side into this next left-hander, so we can bolt it and yeah, save our battery a little bit. You can see I'm struggling for power, as I know this was a great opportunity to stretch your legs a little bit and recharge the battery. Because once we get into that final sector, we need to be close to 100% for that long back straight, and we need to get a good run through the final 2 corners in sector 2, and then obviously through the long right-hander, the corkscrew. That's going to be crucial. Not an easy corner in dirty air as well, and that's kind of what was giving me hope. And you can see I've bolted it now. Use some of my battery into sector 3, and we've got a 4/10 advantage as we head into the corkscrew. See there, 4.5 tenths as we exit the corner. And the question now is that going to be enough? Do we have enough straight line speed on this straight to keep Thomas behind? It's 4.7 tenths. It should not be enough, but it all depends on the car setup. Is it going to be enough into the hairpin? We're going to go defensive, and we cover up the inside nicely. Into the hairpin we go. We've got the lead. Thomas goes for the switchback, but it's not enough. And for the first time on the F1 24 game, we're going to win an F1 Esports race in round number 2. Ismail Fassi in P4.
Nice one. Very lovely drive. On to the next one.
And that means for the first time since December 2021, we're leading the F1 Esports World Championship, joined with Ismail Fassi, of course. Yeah, interesting one. Obviously, Ismail got the point for fastest lap. So, or sorry, Ismail got the point for pole position in Melbourne, and we got the point for fastest lap in Melbourne, and we both finished P1 and P4, so we're joined P1 after this race. And yeah, that was a close one. I thought I was going to be able to pull a bigger gap in the middle sector, but at the same time I had to recharge my battery so much as well, you know. Was a tricky one, for sure. Danny Bresnay didn't make it easy as well on those fresh tires. Yeah, Crazy. Alfie Butcher P5, Otis Lawrence P6, Nicolas Longe P7, Istvan Pukki boxing super late up to P8. Joshi Dowu P9 from P20 on the grid. Joni Tomola P10 from P12 on the grid. So that's good job from Alpine in the race there. Tamas Gal P11, Lucas Blakely P12, Alvaro Carroton P13, Ulas Zilrim P14. Unfortunately, our teammate Freddie Rasmussen got wing damage in the opening lap, I think so. So that was very unfortunate for Freddie. Is that quite an unlucky opening 2 races? But that's racing sometimes, you know. I'm sure he's going to be back for the future rounds. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Ciao.